Okay, next is going to be Raven, The Beginning, an Assassin Lit RPG, World of Vale, book number 1, written by David Wadsworth. I had to write it down. It's not on the title. It is 186 pages, which is a little short for most celebrity novels. It is $2.99, so a little higher. And it is available on Kindle Limited. And here's the author's description. What's the worst that can happen? Is what I thought to myself as I entered the world of Vale with a new experimental machine that the company created. I was originally excited to participate in their alpha test, and now, looking back, I was just a naive little girl that didn't know what it was like to truly suffer. Sarah was one of the world's best assassin players, but she wasn't prepared for getting stuck as a low-level player in a new game. Suddenly, she has to struggle just to survive against the monsters of the world while also keeping her secret from the authorities. What happens when the killing and the consequences are just too real? Okay, this is a kind of, again, on the short side of a series, short side of most celebrity novels, and the story is just kind of okay. There are small math and game mechanic errors that's kind of littered throughout the novel, but you can probably look past those. But mostly the story is just like an XP and quest grind mixed with a kind of blandish stuck in the game element that isn't really developed well. I mean, I wouldn't say it's not developed really at all. Like, literally the main character finds out, this is a little spoiler, that she's stuck in the game. But then when she groups with the players, she never mentions it at all to them, even though they could probably get her unstuck. And that was always like a weird dissonance in my mind for this story, unfortunately. Still, as the story progresses, it actually gets better. It gets more interesting as the assassin stuff opens up. Main character gets like particularly themed quests, and they become more descriptive. They become more interesting, and they're not just like these, kind of boring-ish grinding quests. And the storyline becomes a little more interesting, but overall the story never really hits good for me. It's like, just as the story is developing the main character's personality, it's developing like these interesting quest lines, it ends. And that's like, oh, that's the end of the story. There's no more pages left. So it didn't really hit the spot for me, unfortunately. So it gets a score 6 out of 10. That's Raven, The Beginning, an Assassin Lit RPG, World of Vale, with the score 6 out of 10, just because, like, again, just as it kind of got goodish, it stops. So I'm like, oh, I can't quite give it a good score because it didn't continue on that way. And the first half was generally like, oh, this is not as entertaining as I was hoping it would be.